Get ready. It's coming. An epic event so sweeping, only the Justice League can lead us into it. The Six Flags 45th Anniversary Celebration. See the new Bugs Bunny National Park and join us for Bugs Bunny's Daily Parade Spectacular. And coming soon, the new El Toro, the world's greatest wooden coaster. Get your season pass at sixflags.com. Six Flags Great Adventure. More than a theme park, it's an experience.
El Toro. Ole, that's a 2006 GA commercial, and yeah, we're going to probably talk about El Toro a little bit today as part of the what the hell's going on with Six Flags.
A hot topic.
It's a hot topic. Hello, and welcome to episode number 17 of Some Great Adventures, the podcast for old friends who met and worked at Six Flags Great Adventure in Jackson, New Jersey, chat about our days in the park. As always, our podcast is made possible by our awesome friends at the Shared Universe Podcast Studio. We're recording via Facebook Live, which is always available on our Facebook podcast page. Any audio version will be available on all podcasting platforms whenever my lazy ass puts it up, probably in the next couple of days. So I am Steve Hicks, and my co-host are
Scott Loudon,
Chris Peluso,
Andy Auletti.
Hello, gentlemen. Yeah, so we named this one What the Hell's Going On with Six Flags, and it seemed pretty appropriate because there's a lot of stuff in the past year going on with Six Flags, and honestly, the theme park industry in general. There's news reports. If you've been like following any news reports on theme parks, the industry as a whole is like in an attendance deficit. They're just down like massively this year. It was weird. Over Labor Day, I had friends that were both at Universal in Florida. I had friends that were in Disney. And then I had friends that were at Six Flags, our Six Flags, and Great Adventure. And every single one was posting the same thing. I'm getting on everything 500 times. There's no line.
I was at
really? All right. I hope that sticks.
There was an article in Great Adventure. They're changing their focus now. They're charging more.
Yeah,
and they're reducing the crowd sizes so to make it a better experience for people who do.
Disney claims that that's what they're doing, that they have a reduced. I was there like a year ago. You wouldn't think it. You wouldn't feel it, but supposedly it was less people. I don't know. It was like a friggin' zoo. So yeah, I hope late October that's the case. That would be wonderful.
We were there. Great Adventure, literally, the longest we waited was like 5 minutes to get on King to Ka. Other than that, it was all walk-on.
That's insane for Labor Day weekend. That's pretty goddamn insane.
Never before, I would say, yeah.
No, not at all. I mean, I'll throw this at you guys. This is just a question for you guys, and I didn't prep you guys on this, so this is definitely going to be off the top of your heads. But what do you think this year is really affecting the industry? Do you think it's still COVID, Omicron variant fear still affecting them? Is it just the high cost? Or is it like reverse COVID mentality where people are like, I've been fucking stuck home for 2 years and the last thing I want to do is go to a goddamn amusement park that I've gone to a lot. I want a destination thing. I want to go to like Hawaii. I want to go to some place that's like, really relaxing where I'm not running with my kids from ride to ride. I think it might be more of the latter at this point. I think, tied in with the costs, which we're going to go over in a little more detail. But I think it might be more of the latter where people are just like, that's not exactly what they want after 2 years of being stuck home, especially the people with kids. They want something where it's more of a destination for them and relaxing for them, as well as something for the kids than just because I know for a fact, like when my mom, my aunt used to take us to the park, we were like little rabid animals running from ride to ride, trying to get on as fast as we can. Yeah. And we didn't even want it. We got pissy if they even stopped to eat, which for them was like probably their favorite goddamn time because they got to sit down and actually relax for a few minutes. But we were like, no, we're not going to be able to get on Rolling Rapids again. We got to run, Rolling Thunder. So I kind of like maybe it's just something where people just don't this year want to be in amusement parks. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, Great Adventure. Sorry, go ahead, Andy.
I was going to say gas price is ridiculous.
That too. Yeah.
A lot of people aren't going to drive all the way in from, Philly or DC or all those other places they used to come.
Yeah. Great Adventure's got this whole crazy, ridiculous pricing scheme now with different tiers of passes and memberships. And it's impossible to figure out, even though I have a membership. But like the lowest tier ones, they black out like all the holiday weekends and stuff. So like they're, forcing you to pay more to get in on those days. But tell you, we went on a destination, me and the family. Hard Rock Punta Cana, those fuckers, they freaking, like, we caught COVID and they food poisoned us. I thought my whole family was going to die.
Whoa.
So Hard Rock Punta Cana. I highly recommend going there if you want to, puke your brains out and spend the whole time on the toilet bowl.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. I mean, I was just going to say, like, all I can go by is Disney last October. And it was the 50th anniversary. You know, it was absolutely insane. I saw no decrease. I saw an extreme increase. Everything was busy. Everything was packed. And if you even tried to book anywhere within that 50th anniversary, it was insane. If it is indeed lower attendance now, which when I get there, I'll let you know. I'll let you know in a month. You know what I mean? But, like, I doubt it. I don't know. I think they got lucky. That's the only thing I could say. They got lucky because it's been insane. You can't even get reservations for restaurants after 2 minutes after they open up. They're gone.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's been pure insanity trying to get in there. Now, Universal, usually not as bad. And if it is a decrease, I would attribute it to prices more than COVID. The prices have skyrocketed at all the theme parks. And the confusion, Loudon, definitely the confusion. I'm a Disney veteran, and I'm confused by some of the crap that they're throwing at us now. And some of it's just because it doesn't even make sense. It's just stupid. You know what I mean? And it's not the way they normally operate. They operate usually very efficiently, very guest first. And lately they've been operating very Disney first or money first.
The whole customer service thing has gone to shit since the pandemic. Still using it as an excuse. Oh, pandemic. We can't, we don't have enough employees. I'm like, it's fucking 2.5 years ago now.
Yeah. Hire some people, raise your rates. Yeah, exactly.
But Disney, I feel like, is the one place that's like immune to price increases. People will still pay to go there.
Yes.
So
everybody bitched and complained about the fast passes costing money. You go to try and I'm like, shit, I'm signing up. I wanted it. I'll be honest. I'm saying it right now. I wanted it. I was like, I want to be able to pay to get on whatever the hell I want to get on rather than not get on it. Yeah. But everybody else is the same thing. They bitched about it, but everybody else is paying to get on everything because you still can barely get on things even with the extra money.
Right.
And they've managed to make it just expensive enough where you spend enough money where you just kind of have to spend the extras at this point.
You have to. You have. If there's no choice, you have to do it. You have to spend or you don't get on.
You guys will love this. This was actually going to be like a news topic down the line, but we'll just jump right to this. Here's the title of a news report I read. Disney World prices surged 3,871% over 50 years based on a chart that somebody created. And the guy that created it actually backed it up. And this got put on Fox Business. This was on their website. But the guy's chart actually backs it up completely. And it was a TikTok user. And it's like kind of funny. You create this animated chart and it shows how over the passage of the 50-year time, like they just greatly outpaced the increase in wages, rents, and gas prices like that have been over the years versus what their tickets are. And it's all based on like the Orlando, Florida one. And the guy puts in a lot of real like intelligent thought into it. It includes things like that could have, be a financial crisis that they could stand on like COVID, So things like the 73 oil crisis, 2008 global financial crisis, and then COVID-19. He has like all these things included in there where how those could be a reason why, but they do not break the fact that the entire time over 50 years, the prices for Disney have just been like straight up in the air. It's like,
oh yeah, no. But the industry is also like the mob. I mean, they all get together and everybody follows suit. Universal immediately raised their prices to pretty much the exact same price. And to be honest, they were charging $87.99 for their fast passes forever. They never had them free. Yeah. I stayed at Hard Rock and I would stay at Portofino Bay a lot, so you didn't pay because you're paying $500 a night for a room. So you're still paying, but they always charged $87 a day for their fast passes, So Disney just started doing it after I don't know how many decades. So they're definitely high up, but they all just followed right along. They all raised the prices.
So I'd say let's take a step back and let's jump into our Six Flags CEO. Okay, Salim Basil. I believe I'm pronouncing his last name wrong. If I'm not, fuck him. I don't know him. I don't care. I think it's Basil. It's B-A-S-S-O-U-L.
He
Okay,
hassled us.
yeah, make it be Basil, right? So he's Basil to us. He took over the role of CEO for Six Flags last November. All right. And he ruffled a fuckload of feathers in the last month over some of the statements he said during one of their earnings calls. And I'll point out, so I'm going to say what he said, okay, but then also point out that as part of his apparent strategy, they also just let go 6 freaking park presidents. Six Flags GA, New England, America, Georgia, and St. Louis, all their presidents shit canned in the last month. All right. Wow. So, and GA has reported at a 22% attendance decrease since based on, compared to this time last year. So that's pretty big. But here's what Salim basically said. He was basically talking about their new strategy, which is specifically to keep rowdy teenagers from running amok. And the plan specifically includes hiking prices to try to attract a more affluent customer. Okay. His own words, our aggressive strategic shift is still a work in progress, but my first 9 months at Six Flags as Six Flags CEO has only reinforced my initial belief in Six Flags potential. Like I said, Six Flags has seen an overall attendance drop 22%, okay, compared to a year ago. He says that's due in part to the elimination of free tickets and low-margin product offerings, coupled with increased pricing into a market that had become accustomed to discounts, okay? The theme park operator has been in process of an aggressive shift in strategy after realizing they had discounted too much and that the philosophy of filling our parks was not the right one, okay? We only get the discounter or who and therefore become a daycare center for teenagers. We're not actually getting people that want to spend money. So part of the new strategy is to institute new pricing, which means catering to customers with families or young adults who are willing to come and spend the money in our parks. We don't want the free people. We want the people spending the money in our parks. So they've expanded their advertising to pursue a broader market. And in the past, they were focusing on previous guests, but they realize now that a lot of those previous guests were people that were just getting free tickets or discounted tickets, and they don't spend anything when they're in the park.
Hello, Twickets.
They go, hello, Twickets.
Yeah, Coke cans.
Yeah, exactly. Coke cans, exactly. His exact words, now we're changing that philosophy. We're going to a broader market. We're going to what I call more affluent neighborhoods where we would like to bring people from those neighborhoods to come to our park who have not been targeted before. So then they go on to say, although Six Flags experienced a decline in attendance over the past 3 months, the company said it was able, and this is interesting, it was able to offset much of the drop in revenue to increase guest spending. While they're down 22% in attendance, admission spending per capita increased 27% to $36.35 per person, and in-park spending per capita increased 18% compared to the same time last year. So exactly like you're saying, Peluso, their strategy is no longer to fill the freaking park and hope they buy something. Their strategy is to get the people they think will actually spend the money and put them in the park, which of course now has people freaking the hell up in arms saying that they're only targeting the park to be for richer people. Yeah. And basically anybody that's in a poorer tier, who lives check to check is now priced out of the park.
Well, yeah, that's been a Disney complaint for 20 years now, easily. Yeah, absolutely. And it's now never been a bigger complaint.
Yep.
Yeah. But I mean, I should give a shout out. Like, they actually offer discounted tickets to like former military. So if you are a former military, there's an awesome discount on those. And when I brought my daughter to the park with one of those tickets, I still got to upgrade her to a season pass for like the same amount as a regular price ticket. So,
right.
Nice. Good job, great adventure.
Yeah, here's I think a better press release that gives a good recap of it. During a conference call with investors on Thursday, so this was actually like a month ago, Salim Basil said that a 2 million drop in attendance is because of the elimination of many discounts that created overfilled parks. The stuffed parks created a domino effect of bad experiences, including long lines to enter the park, 2-hour waits for rides, and another lengthy wait at park restaurants. So basically, we realized that literally we had discounted too much, and the philosophy of filling our parks is just not the right strategy. We got the discounter, or we became a daycare center for teenagers. And it's a cheap daycare centers for teenagers during breaks in the summer.
Especially when they had the meal plans where you can get 2 meals a day.
Well, we're going to go into the meal.
Crazy. You guys are talking about that. I couldn't believe people are just going there for a meal.
Oh yeah, I got something on the meal plan.
Yes.
So some of the discounts taken away now as of this year include the Bring a Friend program. That's gone. Meal plans and a free bottled drinks while blackout dates were added. While acknowledging customers like the dining plans, Bill said it's not good for the park. It contributed to long lines, waste, and abuse of food in the program. So the company is working on a new meal plan that addresses all of those issues. And then his exact words, we're in a process of reintroducing a dining plan. After that dining plan is going to be, and that dining plan is going to be of value to our guests, but also a way for us to be able to make money and not lose money on the meal plan, which we know we've been doing. And then they go on to say more than 1 million Six Flags guests took advantage of the unlimited dining plan at its 27 parks, according to Beth Sill. Now, premium experiences at Six Flags, he goes on to say, a season's pass at Jackson's Six Flags Great Adventure in 1994 with 4 roller coasters cost $75. The price was exactly the same in 2022 with 14 coasters, some of which are considered the best in the world. Point to him. That is absolutely true. If you have not, unlike Disney, which went 4,000% higher over the last 50 years.
I would get the annual pass a lot. Now I think it's like $1,500, even with DVC discount. I think it's still like $1,500 a person. So unless I know I'm going twice in that year, which I don't always know that, it's not worth it. If you're going twice, you save a few $100, not even that much anymore. You used to save an entire trip because it was under $1,000 for DVC. So one trip you were paying for it, the next trip you didn't even have to pay for it. It was like free. Now that went up a lot, and they don't even offer it. They're not even offering them right now. They canceled them. They want you to buy the full price, full tickets.
Great Adventure only had 4 roller coasters in 94.
Yeah. Huh. That's what he said. I don't know if that's true, but that's what he said.
Yeah, because I'm like,
do you count
Rolling Thunder, Mine Train, Batman, and I'm like, there had to be more, right?
Probably Scream Machine at the time.
Shockwave
Shockwave went fast. I don't think.
Yeah, that was gone quick.
Yeah, way before '94, I think.
And Viper wasn't there yet. Probably it was probably right before Viper.
Yeah,
I gotta say, man, I loved my experience the last 2 times I went recently. Great Adventure.
Well, so that's the offset, though. If you're a guest. And so this is where we're weird folks here, because we understand the business side because we were part of the business. We lost you, Andy. Your camera just went off.
Yeah, I'm doing working on it.
Are you doing stuff you don't want us to see, Andy?
I'm riling the dog out of here.
I mean, it's weird because as former employees, we don't want the park to fail because we love the park. It's why, good or bad, the park for us is nostalgia. We don't even go to it all that damn often, but we still love it and we love talking about it because we have some deep ties through nostalgia. Yeah. But thinking about the fact that, as a guest, when me and Scott go there, we're like, woohoo! We get to go on a bunch of shit. However, if the park's always empty, it's like when I go to conventions. I love Comic-Cons, right? But it's not. I literally was just telling my girlfriend this. If I go to a Comic-Con 2 years in a row and I get to walk up to every person I want to meet, right? 2 years in a row, I'm positive I'm never seeing that con again on the 3rd year, because that means they're not making enough money to support the con, so the con's going to shut down. Theme parks are the exact same way. If they're constantly empty, they're not making money.
But it sounds like Great Adventure's making more money now, even though attendance is down.
Well,
2%.
He's saying that, but their net cost has been down. Their net profit is down. Yeah, it's down. It's in one of the other.
But what they never understood, they're not going to attract that type of clientele being only a single day destination. Right. They were talking years and years ago about making it a multi-day destination where they were supposed to build that baseball stadium, a real shopping thing, not that outlet mall that wound up it evolving into. And I mean, there's no good place there to eat a meal. Like they had like a cool city walk kind of thing with some nice restaurants and things like that. Then I can see them attracting people willing to spend that kind of money there.
Agreed.
A Dome's Park would help too. I mean, I haven't been to this Nickelodeon yet over here by.
I want to.
Haven't been there yet, but I mean, it looks impressive from the street. From the street.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a good size. They definitely crammed a lot into a small space. Maybe not the greatest for a COVID era. You know what I mean? But still, definitely. definitely a cool thing and doable. It was always seemed like a fantasy. Like, oh, there's no way you can do it in Jersey. You guys shocked me with saying Batman was friggin' open when it was 30 degrees out. I don't even know how the hell. I mean, I don't know how you survive that.
Right?
That's crazy.
So bad.
And it wasn't actually like honestly, I think the Jersey Devil one was worse on my face with the temperature.
Yeah, any coaster. I mean, just the wind.
I'm dying something though, because like Great Adventure, you don't go there to sit in lines and soak up the theming because their theming has gotten to shit.
Correct.
You go there to ride the thrill rides.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
if you find a balance, there may be a sweet spot there where they can,
Right. And just for you, Six Flags second quarter revenue fell 5% to $435 million. Net income tumbled 36% to $45 million.
Well,
so
net's not that. Oh yeah,
that's still a drop.
How's the milk can do, Steve?
What's that?
How's milk can do?
Milk cans. That was all the milk can money. What are you talking about?
There isn't any more milk cans.
Yeah, actually, they got rid of that too, Andy. I don't know where they're making their money because that was it.
No more sleepy Tweeties.
There's nothing else in there. It's like shut. So I don't know like what they're doing.
Right. This was the one that really pissed people off, though. Like, none of his comments would have angered me in any way, even if I hadn't worked at the park. I get that you could get pissy about it, but especially if I'm a low income person, then yeah, I might get a little mad at that because I live nearby because I'm like, you're pricing me out and I live here, right? However, this is what really pissed him off. He bluntly said the company is trying to turn its average guest from the Kmart, Walmart customer to more like the Target customer.
Oh man, what?
That he literally said that, dude. So now he's being now he's being slammed for classist remarks because.
Oh my God, yes.
You probably said that, right?
I mean, that's clear. That's just clear.
That's pretty bad. I know that's pretty bad. And then what I love it because on the one article I read, I sometimes I look at the comments that people post, and this one kind of cracked me up. Imagine if people on the lower end of middle class could afford to go to a theme park. That's just terrifying, right? Thankfully, the CEO of Six Flags is making sure that never happens again. I was like, yeah, you're not wrong.
Man.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. It's funny though. I'm going to move into the meal plan stuff because that's just really its own goddamn crazy thing. But I will say there's a guy called Michael Gibson, and he just writes for a regular old like radio station, but they have their own, obviously like everybody, they have their own webpage. And so he just wrote an article on the webpage, and it was specifically all about Six Flags not being the daycare anymore, and Bassel's comments and all that shit. But I love how he ends it. So he kind of brings up a lot of that stuff, and he's based in Texas, so he's really. He goes to that local Texas park. Always, he's like us. He's local. Talks about how he's gone to that since he was a kid. He used to have to. Him and his church group used to have to do fundraisers so that they could afford to go on their one trip a year to the park when he was a kid. He remembers it fondly. And then he basically says at the end, he recaps everything and basically says, "Here's what I'm getting from all this. I'm not going to say what I really think, but I don't like this aggressive strategic shift and think it could backfire and make the park less affordable." A less affordable day of entertainment for many families to enjoy. We'll see. But despite my negative feelings towards these comments, I will still find a moment to enjoy my time at Six Flags. Why? Because it's fun. And that's what these parks are about. It has been all my life, and it's what they should be about. And I kind of thought like that's a great way to kind of wrap up. You can be as pissy as you want, but at the end of the day, it is still a good place, and you still kind of want to back it. You just hope that maybe they find some happy medium to not just fuck everybody going there, but speaking of fucking everybody going there, let's talk about this fucking meal plan. Holy shit. First of all, I hate trying to share shit on here, so I'm not going to share it, but I will absolutely post to our Facebook page. Somebody actually created a chart, okay? That's part of the Six Flags Connoisseurs, the Facebook group. And the chart is so fucking convoluted, but it literally breaks down the new annual membership plans versus season plans for getting in the park.
That's why I was so confused.
Those two. And then also the meal plans, which there's two separate types of meal plans, but then the meal plans themselves have now been changed. So the new meal plans are basically, this is so weird. Certain memberships get you 10, 15, or 20% off any meals. Okay. I think drinks are not included, but then there's the meal plans, and the meal plans are just as goddamn confusing because the meal plan. All right, so let me find my little meal plan chart here. I'm like, Jesus, this is so fucking ridiculous. But before, when like if you got a meal plan, you basically got to go and just eat. Okay, that was it. The meal plan hooked you up, and you got to eat, right? Well, now you have a seasonal dining pass. It's $135. Okay. Or you can include it, that's the meal plan, or you can include it with the annual dining plan, which is also the same price, okay? And basically, this is so fucking weird. Drinks are not included, okay? You have a maximum of 2 meals per day on either one, okay? And basically what happens is you have a 3-hour interval. So when you go there, you can't just eat your 2 meals back to back, which is what people were doing and taking advantage of it. Now you have to spend at least 3 hours in the park to get. So if you walk right in there and eat your meal, you got to wait 3 hours before you can eat your second meal. And the whole purpose of that, which to his credit, you now are forced to be in that park for 3 hours. So unless you're just going to ride straight, you're probably going to buy something, right?
Well, it stops the people from coming in and just getting takeout.
Absolutely, which we know people were doing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's dedication, but damn.
Now, here's a new thing they're adding though too. A season. I think this is new. I could be wrong, but I don't remember this being there for last year. But for this year, there is a seasonal drink bottle. So for $35, okay, you get unlimited refills for this entire season.
They've had that.
They did have it, right? Okay.
It wasn't that expensive.
But here's the thing. That's fucking shitty because let's be honest. They charge you for every locker next to every major ride, and you can't bring a single goddamn thing, not even a pair of keys in your pocket on almost any rides anymore.
On those rides, you have a rack where you can put your drink cup.
Is there? Okay, I did not know that, so then I take it back. All right, so that seasonal cup has its own little space for it.
Yep.
But how do you know someone isn't going to take your seasonal cup?
I was going to say, you got to have like a Sharpie on you or something.
That's a fucking germaphobe, and I don't want to take a cup and suddenly be drinking somebody else's fucking COVID cup. You know?
Yeah.
Well, then fuck them. It's stupid still. I know it's stupid because we're in a pandemic still, and there's fucking COVID. I don't want to drink someone else's cup by mistake. Fuck
that's always been my thing too. With any even souvenir cups, whether you can, I don't want to carry them around the park.
No, that's the thing. Any of that shit, I'm like, you got to carry it, man.
It's a pain in the ass all day long because Disney used to do them all the time. And I was like, yeah, it's cool and all, and you go home with it, and then it's like it's bulky. It doesn't even fit in the cabinet. So and you got to carry it around all day.
I mean, I gotta say though, like, as a parent, I'm used to lugging shit around. Like, I don't think
that's true.
It's been years since I've not lugged shit around. Like, randomly, I probably brought something here today that I don't need just because I'm used to carrying stuff around.
I'm just used to carrying.
Yeah, between the wife, the kid, everybody, you're always carrying something. So it's.
So let's go into the passes, and we're not going to delve into these too deep because they're just fucking ridiculous. So here's the funniest thing. First of all, okay, now you have all these fucking massive options for getting a season's pass or getting in there, and they're confusing as shit because some of them like end at a specific time of the season. Some of them are ongoing, and you pay an ongoing monthly fee as well as your initial fee.
That's the
Those are the memberships,
and they have more blackout dates.
And so let's go into memberships. The first membership is their cheapest. It's their Gold Thrill Seeker membership, and that is only for your specific park. Okay, so for us, it would be Six Flags Great Adventure, and it would include the Wild Safari. You do get general parking with it. You pretty much get nothing else with it.
It doesn't include Hurricane Harbor, right?
It does not include Hurricane Harbor. That is a separate park. And by the way, all of these, you're also scammed if you're going to the haunted attractions, because if you go during Fright Fest, then you also have to get a like premium haunted house pass.
They got us last year on that.
They did. And even that, then you have a regular pass, an express pass, and an all seasons pass for all the other fucking seasonal shit they do. So it's like, no matter how you're doing it, they're fucking getting you coming and going because there's like, and then that's not counting the fast passes. Then there's also the fast pass. That's a completely separate fucking thing too. So if right now it sounds like you wouldn't need one, but if you had a typical year, you probably want that because otherwise you get on 3 goddamn rides if you're on major coasters and you're done. So now you have the fast pass too. So that's another goddamn price, which is pretty extraordinary.
And they still have the fast pass.
They do.
And there were still people using them.
I know. But then the second pass, so the gold is just for your own park. Now the platinum and the diamond, I give them credit. Those for unlimited visits to any park. Period. So if you're a traveler, if you're a coaster enthusiast and you go to these parks, those are actually good options. Not that much more expensive. Now the gold one was $115 and then $699 a month after that. The platinum is $155 and then $10 a month after that. And then the diamond is $280 and then $20 a month after that.
Is that like per month in perpetuity? Like you never have to pay that initial fee again?
Well, they say they're annual memberships, so I assume that means you have to pay that $155, $280, and that again at the end of the year.
Oh, what is the $20 a month? What's that about? Like, can't I just give you the money and get it?
And it does say those after the initial payment.
Yeah.
And the only difference between them really is just whether or not you're getting parking, preferred parking versus regular parking, and blah blah blah.
So that's your all-out best plan access. You get everything for that. So that's $520 a year. Is what you're saying?
That doesn't sound like such a good deal when you compare it to the season passes, because that's what we bought.
Well, and then you still have seasons passes, and those are now they're like flat prices, but they're for a specific season. So like you're only getting it from it's like going back to the old days where you're getting it like spring to Fright Fest and then you're done. So it doesn't include the holiday.
But I just got my daughter's a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it's 12 calendar months. So she's going.
Well, so that's where I was going to bring it up with you. So me and Scott, when we went to our last one last year, which was during Fright Fest, so that means we should be good for Fright Fest this year too, but probably not Holiday in a Park if you're going by their new rules. So they basically offered us seasons passes with parking for $30 fucking. It was ridiculous. So we bought them up.
Yeah.
We were like, "Fuck yeah, this makes sense."
Day, $20 for that and $5 for the parking.
Yeah, it was nothing, right? But here's the joke: we haven't gone. He went. I haven't even gone yet this season, and now we're toward the end of the season. And I think it's only, like he said, for 12 months, meaning that once we get into Fright Fest, mine's over, and the only time I've been going the last couple of years is Fright Fest and Holiday in a Park. So I kind of fucked myself on Holiday in a Park. And the renewal is not cheap. So the renewal they offered me, they sent me 25 emails in the last month, and the renewals were 115 or some shit like that. And I was like, no.
I got my daughter a ticket for $40, using the military discount. Normally I think it's $80 for the day. And then it was $40 to upgrade her to a season pass, which was good for a full 12 months. So, I mean, $80 in that case doesn't sound too bad. I don't know if there are other discounts readily available for that sort of thing or not.
Right. So it's funny. Brian Tate just posted a link in the chat to an article where it says California man paid $150 a year, had 2 meals a day at SF and saved enough to pay off student loans.
And then he
buy a house and get married. Yeah, I know, right? That was a different guy who actually said he had to stop eating because of the unhealthy options. We talked about that a couple podcasts ago because I was bitching as a vegetarian. I can never fucking find anything to goddamn eat there. But it's funny. I don't know where that is, Tate, but I actually have that. I have that saved. And I'm trying to think if I can find it. Oh, yeah, I do have it saved. I have that saved. And there is another guy who calls himself the Six Flags Scoundrel, who is a TikTok user, and said he actually kept a spreadsheet that showed how he basically saved hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars every year just by scamming off the dining pass. So, I mean, they know that, and that was one of the reasons why the guy was changing it, and I don't blame him. But then again, our friend Steven Napa posted they want a permanent tap on your wallet, and I feel like he's not far off because when I look at all these fucking options, it is insane. It is really, really insane. I mean,
it also takes the bite out of it too. Like when you see, $200, you're like, oh, for the whole year, that's not bad. But like Andy, when he added it all up and whatnot, it was over $500. That does. It's like, holy shit, $500.
And also remember, you're not talking a family pass. You're talking an individual pass.
Yeah.
So if you have a family of 10, you're never going to Six Flags.
That's what I mean. Even in family of 4, $500.
Fuck.
$2,000, $500 a year. You know what I mean? I did.
Whenever I see any of my friends that have more than 3 kids and they're at Disney, I'm like, oh man, how many years did you save for that visit?
Yeah, man.
Star Wars, because then I'm like, holy shit,
Brutal. It's brutal.
It is.
Yeah, no, I had a buddy that just went, and he said it cost almost $10,000 for the week between everything, between room and all the tickets and everything. Family of 4. I was just like, wow, man.
Right.
Yeah, it's brutal.
And like Steve was saying in the beginning, and then you come home exhausted. So why not spend that 10 grand and go to Hawaii?
Yeah, exactly. No, that
the kitty's occupied,
That's true.
No, that's why I did that DVC a lot. I will say that I'm a big fan of that because I don't spend 10 grand anymore. I mean, it's definitely gone up, but I don't pay for the rooms. It took a while to pay off, but now it's done.
Well, it's funny, Peluso. I know you're like the Disney fan. I am too. I prefer Disney over them all. But I like Universal a lot too. And then
Universal's great.
Even when we worked at Six Flags, like it's funny. Like a bunch of us used to go to Disney as our vacation, which tells you how we think about the tiers of the park. Which is, I mean, people always say, Disney's A and Six Flags is B. That's been a common thought in a long time.
Six Flags is more C-.
Yeah, well, now, for sure. I mean, honestly, the way I really always do think about it is Disney's my A, Universal's my B, and Six Flags is my C. That's how I think about it. And everything else is local, Keensburg, Seaside, Wildwood amusement parks. I don't even count what they have as like amusement parks,
I agree.
But Disney is doing something. They're hinting at it. They have not released anything official on this that is actually pretty smart considering how much power they have at this point with their online service, meaning Disney Plus. They're actually hinting that they're going to create a membership that will also include your Disney Plus.
I saw that. Yeah. Like an all-encompassing thing for all things Disney. Yeah.
I think that's smart because if I was someone that's willing to pay as much as they're asking me to pay to go there all the they should be giving me something like that. Exactly. You got
They also know their audience, their fans love to be vested in it.
Exactly.
I mean? They like to say, "Oh, I got this." You know what I mean? Exactly. It's usually in a complaint. I'm a blah blah blah. This should never happen to me. You know what I mean? Like, because there's nobody else like you. But they do know their audience. So I think that'll go over very big if they make it worthwhile.
Yeah, I agree. There is a thing before we jump into like a lot of the news stuff. There are a couple of things they did this year that were kind of cool. One I'm going to go back to. Remember I talked about the giraffe encounter that they were doing? It was a one night only thing, and it was a little expensive. It was like I forget the price, but I think it was $200 or $300 a person.
I remember.
Yeah, but it sounded cool. But it didn't sound like there was enough stuff to do to make it worth it at the end of the day. When I read everything, they basically were making it very clear it's an overnight stay, which is really cool because we've all been in a safari in like intimate safari encounters because of work crew, but especially Chris with the monkeys. But we're not going to talk about this in the podcast because
Buffalo.
I was the bison, but okay, if there's a monkey.
That was Andy. Andy was the one with the bison. Let's just not talk about this stuff. But somebody actually went to the giraffe encounter. And somebody by the name of Sherry Trail posted on the Great Adventure Connoisseurs thing. We finally did the giraffe encounter yesterday on its last day of operation for the season, and it was amazing. All the employees were so passionate in their work and full of fun facts and stories. The open-air truck ride was a blast, and the guide was fun to listen to. When feeding the giraffe, my daughter was petrified to get close, and they were so patient and understanding. It took the time to explain about their teeth and their eating habits, and they got my daughter to be comfortable and settle down near them and feed them.
Did they get to give the giraffe a hernia check?
All right, I'm going to ignore Scott and keep going while roaming around because now we know why he's going to go, but then we're not going to go.
All right, maybe we don't want to talk about the monkeys then. Exactly. Because I'm a little worried about Loudon.
Here's a cool thing they did, though, and they did not advertise it. So they specifically said that it does not include the safari tour, meaning your standard safari ticket, okay?
That's like BS. You could just put that in there. Oh.
They should have said they get their own fucking tour, which was special in an open thing. So then she goes on to say, while roaming around and seeing the other animals at camp, another woman shared interesting details of each animal, especially the birds. Then finally, while inside the reptile building, so they actually did get to go inside a lot of the other buildings, we got to see a legless lizard up close and again learned so much about the reptiles that I never knew. And when I started a Q&A session about the various bones in there, one of the animal educators got into a fun show to tell us. He went through so many of the skulls and asked for my kids for ideas of which animals each was. So they were actually, I guess they have a bunch of skulls in there. They were like guessing which the animals were and stuff. And they basically said she said it was highly, highly engaging. And that she basically closes out by saying, if they offer again next year, I would definitely do it again. I highly recommend it. And then she goes on to say, which was my complaint now, reading her thing, I wish they explained in better detail what the experience may entail, as I think more people would be interested without just looking at the price tag and turning it down. Honestly, the animal educators and caretakers made it an experience completely worth going to.
That's cool.
It is cool. And you know what's funny? So my lady lives in Pennsylvania, and there is a local zoo in Pennsylvania that for this month, up until I think the first week of next month, they're offering giraffe encounters as well.
And hernia checks.
I'm going to ignore them again. And it's so cool because they offer 20, you get 20 minutes completely solo. You and your group get 20 minutes and it's $5 each.
Wait, what are you doing when you're
You
solo?
feed them. You get one person, you get a tour guide with you, and without anybody else outside of your group, you have 20 minutes to feed the giraffes, where you don't have to do it with strangers you don't know who are trying to grab the giraffes' balls like Loudon, okay? You just get to go and feed the giraffes for 20 straight minutes. And they just, same thing as that. They talk about it.
Pennsyltucky people be showing up with their shepherd's boots. You don't know what these people are doing. They're like Pennsyltucky people.
And this comes from Scott, who lives in Pennsylvania. Exactly. So we know exactly what he's talking about. So anyway, I thought that was cool, though. I actually might now opt to do the giraffe encounter if they do it again next year. I hope they had enough people to make it worth doing it twice. And I guess maybe that's why they offset the price to be that high also. But it does sound pretty damn cool. And I would
say it's overnight, Steve. I can't remember.
It is an overnight. Where
do you stay?
You actually you stay right outside of one area in a safari where they have you pitch a tent, but it's supposedly like near the tigers because they say you can hear like all the animals.
That alone is badass. Camping by the tigers. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool. I mean, I paid for my daughter to go to the aquarium for like a week of like summer camp. This sounds at least, if not more, like engaging with like, you know, getting involved with
it is.
And those people are legit that take care of the animals. Like,
correct.
I was just talking to a guy who was one of the full-time people. They're, you know, they're obviously educated. They have to have a animal science of some sort of degree. And then they like, you know, get around, they take care of them. They were explaining the whole system of training the parrots and stuff. So
gotcha.
It's pretty cool.
All right. On my screen, let me see if I can share this. Hold on. I hate this because I'm never good at sharing stuff. Let me get back into you guys. Let's see if I can just share my screen. Window. Okay. Tell me when you guys can see this.
It's an eye chart, which I can't read, but yes, it's very.
Andy and Chris, can you guys see this?
Nothing yet.
No, I don't see it.
That's weird.
There we go. There we go. It's a little small for us, but I can see it.
You see how complicated this chart is?
Yeah.
This is the guy. This is the chart. The guy that puts the passes and the eating plans all side by side. You don't even need to be able to see the details to know that this is how many fucking options are out there right now, though.
Wow.
And I just look at this and I get a headache.
That's a lot.
Effing shit, man.
Yeah, that's
remember the day when you just bought a season's pass for $30 and you had fun? What the?
Well, you had to decide
like a
if you wanted the silver, the gold, or the power pass.
Not when I was a kid, but when we got older, yes, but not when I was a kid. You know?
Yeah. Silver, gold.
Silver was only during weekdays. It was like $20.
Are concerts still included in admission there? They turned that chicken down too now.
The concert COVID. The Great Arena shut down.
There's no shows.
I don't think they've done anything with the Great. When we went last year, Great Arena was still fully shut down.
Oh, it's still there.
Yeah, the Great Arena hasn't opened in 3 years, dude. There's literally almost no shows in the park at all.
I don't think I saw any.
No, you don't even. When we went last year, we saw one atmosphere character. It was one clown on stilts at the end of the day when we were leaving. We never saw another character. I never saw anyone in outfits. No Looney Tunes.
Well, they're moving away from the whole Warner Brothers Looney Tunes.
Yeah, but they still need to have a family-friendly for the kids thing, and there are no atmosphere characters.
When we were there a couple weeks ago, they did have a Wile E. Coyote taking pictures with people.
Well,
I don't know if he was an employee or just some guy who showed up in a costume.
It's like in New York where there's 5 Wile E. Coyotes fighting each other.
I was going to say Times Square, man. There's a whole bunch of characters there. I don't think they belong to anybody officially.
All right, so let's go over a couple cool things they did since we were talking about the giraffe encounter. They had a couple other things this year. They had Thrillathon. You guys hear about that?
No.
Thrillathon was a one-day thing. It was an event that happened on August 27th, And basically, it gets you exclusive ride time, a catered meal, a behind-the-scenes tour, and some other stuff. However, this is actually really cool. You have to be a member of one of the coaster enthusiast groups to even be able to get in it. And if you're not, they show you how you can become a member, and they list out like the 5 like common ones, which is ACE, European Coaster Club, Coaster Crew, Western Europe Coaster Club, Buzz Bars, and there's more. But they actually list a person you can reach out to at GA who will help you become part of the group. You also have to buy a special ticket for it, and you have to have a pass. If you don't have a season's pass or a day ticket, though, you could buy a special ticket just to get in for that day, okay? But again, you have to be part of a coaster group or someone who's in the coaster groups, like +1, because I guess you can have up, if you're in it, you can have up to 3 people go with you. And it's pretty, I gotta admit, it sounds really cool. You basically can go on specific coasters, okay, and at specific times. And then what they also do is they give you behind the scenes tours of certain rides, okay? And then you get lunch with the Looney Tunes. As we were saying, you don't see a lot of characters in the park, but from 12 to 1 on that day in Picnic Grove, they did a full lunch. And I got to be honest with you, it's pretty cool. This was this year's. This is the second year they're doing it. They did the lunch was in Peluso as a former foods person. You'll appreciate this. It was a barbecue style catering themed to the Jersey Devil barbecue, meaning the Jersey Devil ride. So they made stuff with a little bit of a kick. So they had full pork sandwiches. They had bacon wrapped pork kebabs and sweet chili sauce. They had burgers with a whole bunch of special Jersey Devil stuff to make it like hotter. Pepper relish, bacon onion marmalade. Nice. They had barbecued grilled chicken breasts. They had buffalo chicken wings. They had amped up 4-cheese mac and cheese. And then they had like potato salad, coleslaw. They had ice cream cups and fountain soda and all that shit. Then they also had, you get a dinner with like, I guess they're calling them directors. Okay. And that's people that could do Q&As and talk about the park. They did raffles that were exclusive to them. They did nighttime rides that were exclusive to them. And then they did a behind the scenes tour where like they would actually like take you behind the ride and kind of talk you through the ride and everything. And I was like, this all sounds good, but it also sounds like, you know, maybe it's pretty expensive. I don't know, man. I was kind of like, when I was hearing about it, I was like, I don't know if this is worth it, you know, but I guess if I'm a coaster enthusiast, it's right. Pretty cool. Then I saw someone post this. This guy, Michael Olivencia, posted, wasn't too initially excited about Houdini replacing Toro for the Thrill-a-thon tour. So originally it was El Toro, and obviously that didn't happen, so it became Houdini. However, this guy actually did the Houdini tour, okay? And he literally posted, and you can find it on YouTube. It's called Houdini's Great Escape Backstage Tour, and he posted the whole thing. He did a whole video on it, and it's really cool. And he actually says, like, turns out there's a lot more going on in this ride than, you know, just walls moving, and you get to see all the engineering stuff. And he says they actually made me love a flat ride. Like the you know, behind the scenes stuff made it completely worth it. And I was like, you know, that's the type of ride though where Houdini always throws me off, because Houdini felt like they were trying to be Disney for a short period of time.
Right.
And they were like, you know, we have the capability. We could theme something that is a flat ride, you know, and be like Disney.
It was a ripoff Haunted Mansion kind of deal.
But it works. I still like it.
Yeah.
If it's a super fucking hot day and you go into that air conditioning in Houdini, you're like, oh, this is like the Haunted Mansion on a hot Florida day. It's wonderful, you know? Yeah. So, but it's actually, it sold me on it. Like, if that guy hadn't have posted that, just like the giraffe thing, though, I'd be like, only Ace people would dig that. But the guy made it set, like, if they can make a flat ride that cool,
right,
I think that's pretty neat. I also think that it's cool that the park is actually, they know who their return bread and butter is. And obviously all these coaster enthusiast people have always been that. I mean, they, you know, we recognize those people from when we worked there. So I think it's kind of cool that they're doing that, you know?
Andy, the Six Flags by you, is it open year round in Texas?
Yeah, they're open year round, I believe. Or maybe they close for a small time in the winter, but they're open at least 10 months a year, I'm sure.
Is it any different than like Six Flags Great Adventure? Like in terms of, you know?
Well, I've never been to Six Flags over Texas up in Arlington. I've been to Six Flags Fiesta Texas out in San Antonio a couple of times. It's nice. It's actually themed pretty well. It's built in an old rock quarry, so it looks pretty cool because there's all like rock walls around the place. Like you feel like you're lower down in a canyon. But it's just small. It's it's a lot smaller than Great Adventure, but it's definitely nice for a day trip. And they get some pretty new rides. They rotate new stuff through there pretty often. But that's about a 4.5 hour ride for me. So I've only been there a few times.
Yeah, it's a hike. Yeah. That's more like an overnight stay thing when you're driving that much,
Yeah,
well, it's right near San Antonio. So if you're going to San Antonio for a few days, they have a SeaWorld there also.
Yeah.
They have Six Flags and then everything within San Antonio to do. So it's a good day stop on on a trip to San Antonio for a few days.
Makes sense. The only other new thing this year that I'll bring up is they do their all right. So first of all, they had their Coca-Cola Dream World. Okay, that was like a thing that was going on like throughout the summer, and I think it might still be going on. In reality, all it was like a Coca-Cola promotion to get you to try their new fucking flavor Dream World. So at the end of the day, it's like you can take a photo. They have like a little photo stands up, and I guess they have something special for people who are trying to do TikTok shit. But otherwise, it's literally just a Coca-Cola promotion. So I was kind of like on that one. But then they have their Summer Vibes Festival that went on, and I think this is the first year they're doing it. I think it's brand new. And there's this one guy, and I think his name is Dan Zaro. He basically did a really good quick breakdown of like what he thought were hit and misses, and they as a guest and a person that worked in the park, they all made absolute sense. So I kind of believe everything he said. It was really well thought out. But he basically said, and the event ran. Yeah, I was right. It ran daily through August 14th, so it's already over. But they advertised it as. At the Six Flags Summer Vibes Festival, sun-kissed dreams come to life as guests drench themselves in a kaleidoscope of color. The event, which runs daily through August 14th, offers mouth-watering treats, beat-the-heat beverages, more Coke, bold, eye-popping spectacles, photo moments, live entertainment, and colorful curiosities to immerse guests in a reverie of summer. And this was, our thing. He put down hit simple food. All their simple food creations that they put for here, which were things like, wings with sesame teriyaki and heat wave hot honey, all worked really well. They all were fantastic. Miss complicated foods. He said every complicated food they tried to do, such as their hot Cheetos pizza and their sweet and sour chicken over fried rice, really were not good at all. He said, you'll find other overly ambitious menu options, more than I'm mentioning, that are also out of place and difficult to stomach while walking around a theme park on a hot summer day. However, remember, Great Adventure is not known for gourmet cuisine. And I was like, that's a good point,
Right.
They did specialty drinks, though. They did, he said he tried both a Vibes Punch and a Very Berry Lemonade, and they were absolutely fantastic. And me and you fucked up because they did specialty alcoholic drinks throughout the park. They had Summer Vibes Sangria, Summer Vibes Spiked Seltzer, Blood Orange Lemonade, rum buckets, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And he said, to be quite honest with you, they were all hits. He said, every one I tried was really good. Downside of the drinks, the park no longer includes straws or lids on anything. And he said, so that kind of sucked when you're walking around.
Yeah, Disney got rid of the straws, I think, and lids.
Everybody's doing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
He said there were splashy photo op like things throughout the park for you to do selfies. They were like under the sun umbrella canopies and other stuff. There's a whirly way pinwheel tunnel, a wacky wavy way. He said a lot of them were actually just really, really neat, and they were meant to be movable. A lot of this stuff because for like TikTok people are trying to do like it's little 2-minute quick things. But he said they were actually really, really cool. But then he says, and this has got to be the fucking path alongside fucking, where the stadium used to be. Because he says the Forgotten Garden is a massive miss. And he goes, oh my, I was so excited about this one. And then incredibly disappointed by the execution. The official description describes the Forgotten Garden as transforming ride relics and park memorabilia into beautiful new planters. And he goes, that sounds great in theory, but nostalgia is awesome. But unfortunately, it was just one hidden path that looked like a whole bunch of garbagey scattered junk and randomly potted plants all put together.
It's actually the spot next to the Yum Yum Palace.
That's what I figured. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
That's exactly where I figured it was.
I actually have pictures of it. When I was there, I was like, oh, I can take these pictures to show Steve.
Is it garbage? Doesn't look like a garbage. It looks like
no, Neil sent me an Enterprise. He sent me the Enterprise planner.
They've made all these old ride
I knew that's what it was as soon as I read that.
So I'll show you when we're and it's basically
send them to me because I'll post them.
I feel like we'll appreciate it. I don't know if guests would appreciate it.
That's exactly when I read that. I said this guy's a guest, so he doesn't appreciate the graveyard. So the nostalgia would only be for us, not them. You know what I mean?
And I was like, we're kind of a smaller group, you know. Like I was like, oh, cool, that's the Enterprise, you know, but. I don't think anybody else gives a shit. You know what I mean? Like, scared.
It's so true, because think about it. If you see one of the original fucking Skyride cars there, you're like, oh, that's badass. Yeah. If you're a regular guest, you're like, what a piece of junk. You know?
Like, all right, there's a greasy car here with some plants in it. Who cares?
Tunnel, though. I mean,
it was cool.
It's right from the fountain to the big wheel.
Yeah.
And it's basically uses the same scaffolding that they're going to use for Fright Fest, clearly.
Right, of course.
And they just took it down after because it was there one week and then gone the next when I was there. But kids loved it. Like my daughter was like, "Oh, that's so awesome!" Like, let's take a picture.
There you go. This is funny. As we were just talking about entertainment, hit and miss entertainment. So it got both a hit and a miss. Some special summer vibes entertainment options are sprinkled throughout the park, including a DJ booth, sticky paint percussion and paint artists, sensational street acrobats, jump rope brigade, and street dance troupe. I love the variety in the summer theme. However, I didn't see any of them. The show locales and timing are very sporadic, and I literally, through my entire day at the park, cannot catch a single one. He said, I don't want to shit on it, and that's my words, not his. But he's basically saying, I don't want to slam them because they probably had really good entertainment, but I just couldn't find it. And that's kind of funny because that's what we were just saying. Like, we know they probably still have stuff out there, but every time we go, we don't see any of it, you know?
Yeah, we did happen on a double Dutch jump rope thing randomly.
Oh, well, there you go. And then he goes, miss showcase vibes. Showcase Theater is transformed into Showcase Vibes, described as unique and interactive experience with light, sound, and fun photo op opportunities. It sounded amazing, and the promotional photos looked awesome, but it was only open limited hours and closed every single time I walked by. Here's a weird one. Hit Skull Mountain 6 remix.
That sucked.
That's funny. Awesome. He liked it, and you hated it, and that's funny. So he put, although this does crack me up, there's nothing better than when Six Flags shows some love to an old favorite indoor roller coaster such as Skull Mountain.
Skull Mountain was never a favorite of anybody's, though.
No.
Yes. No. There are guests that love that fucking ride. We don't.
Really?
Yes, there are guests.
Wow.
And this also shocked me. He pointed out it's been open for 26 years as of last month. I was kind of like, holy shit. Yeah, that kind of blew my mind a little bit too, but that makes sense. Yeah, because it was open when we were there.
Yeah.
So 97, definitely. So yeah, that makes sense. They basically put a digital DJ in there, and they had 6 unique programs that pumped like party music and special lighting on the inside. Now, I have to be honest with you. At night, it was probably badass. Because at night, you're not getting the daylight in there fucking everything up. In the day, it probably sucked as bad.
It's like a cool-ass Music Express.
Yes, exactly what I was thinking. It's the Music Express on Skull Mountain.
They had strobe lights and stuff. So my daughter, who's only ridden it twice, once before and after, actually during that and then after that, and she said that during it was like stupid because the strobe lights and everything, you could see what was going on as you were riding.
That's my point. That's why I said at night it might be good.
So she said afterwards it was so much better. But like just like the fact that they were lighting up the indoor roller coaster, where the only real thing about Skull Mountain is the fact that you can't see what's going on.
Yeah,
ruined the whole experience. So she said it was better after they did away with it.
Well, when I went on it last year and we went on it during the day, and again I thought it sucked ass because during the day all the light still gets inside. They don't have it curtained off properly, so literally. It's not a dark ride. It is, you literally see all the garbage on the floor. It's completely visible. So I was like, this sucks. But at night, when it's still pitch black, it's still, if you liked it, it was still there, But yeah, it's kind of funny. And I will also hit you with this, Andy. This will break your heart a little bit. This past Thursday, marked 9 years that Rolling Thunder has been gone.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a bummer, man. I saw that stat get posted, and I was like, oh.
I was reading. So at Hershey Park, they just tore down their big wooden roller coaster.
Yep.
I don't even remember the name of it. It's
might
escaping
be,
at the moment. But they're rebuilding it. They're talking about next season.
Correct. They said
it's
it's
just
not going
modernizing.
right. Yep. I
like
saw that.
Too bad they didn't just rebuild Rolling Thunder. I mean, that was a pretty cool roller coaster.
It was.
It was cool, but like when you put it side to side to like El Toro, it just looked like a kiddie ride. So I mean,
Yeah, but every ride doesn't need to be the tallest roller coaster in the
Yeah,
world.
I mean, a perfect example
The
is
Cyclone is still a
Runaway Train.
badass roller coaster.
Well, even look at Runaway Train. I still highly enjoy Runaway Train.
Oh,
And
yeah, it's good time.
that's a wild fucking mouse in a goddamn Ford. I mean, that's all that fucking is. But I still love it. I mean, granted, I have a lot of nostalgia for it too, which makes me love it. But even as a kid, it was one of my favorite rides before I ever worked there.
You need some for the scaredy cats too. I'm not going on that Toro. Screw that thing. I'm not going on that. That thing's enormous.
Wait till we get there, Chris, because you'll probably never go on El Toro.
I know, and now I'm especially not going on it. That is a backbreaker.
So, all right. So we'll just
part of the charm.
Exactly. We'll just finish off the summer vibes thing here. There was also a pump hydrant pumper truck. And he said, my kids would have loved this, and I'm sure it's a great way to cool off in the midst of the Jersey heat wave. But it's just this was a miss. I forgot. This was a bad one. He said, it sounded great, and I'm sure it would have helped you, cool off. But it was just a bunch of cheap lawn sprinklers on the top of a fire truck. And in parentheses, he put, plus, this really just made me remember that Six Flags laid off their entire full-time firefighting staff last year. Maybe that's why they did it this way. And I'm like, oh, good burn. That was a good burn now.
We're not using this truck anymore. Let's just
Exactly. Hey, no one even knows how to use the fucking fire truck. Just put it out there and put sprinklers on top because that's crazy, Well, they did. So, he basically rolled it up by saying the new Summer Vibes Festival is a great addition to Six Flags Great Adventure. Keeping things in perspective, the festival is totally value added. I mean, you're not paying anything extra to it. And he said everything aside from food and drink items is included in your regular theme park admission. He said while there's definitely missteps here, it really was a lot of excellent ideas with a little bit of an iffy execution. A lot of colorful, cool additions to make a great day. If they keep trying it for next year and they just improve upon what people give them feedback like I did, he goes, this could be a really, really great thing, going forward. I thought that was cool because it was one of those things. I mean, as a season's pass holder, I get these emails all the time that show that stuff. And when I see stuff like that, I literally think it's more like the dream thing where I'm like, they're just promoting Coke. There's nothing for me here. I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to bother with that. But it actually sounded pretty goddamn cool. So, before we jump into theme park rides that are closing, I will point out something that cracked me up and confused a lot of people, myself included. If you remember in like our March podcast, the new ride was Medusa for this year, right? And Medusa is really just another recycled ride, right?
It was Bizarro.
It was Medusa, Bizarro, Medusa. Yeah. So we know it's really a ride, okay? But here's the biggest joke. We all got an email last week saying, hey, Medusa, grand opening weekend today. Today is the grand opening of Medusa. It's September 10th. That was your new ride for March. Why the fuck is your grand opening on September 10th?
I mean, I wrote it like 2 weeks ago.
Well, and people say that, that's what made people even more confused. They're like, I haven't been there yet this year, but wasn't it the new ride? Was it not open all year? And they're like, no, they just decided to make this the grand opening weekend.
I got to say, though, for Chris, I just rode Medusa for the first time a couple weeks ago. It was pretty awesome. I mean, it was what Batman used to be to me, and then Batman got old and rough, and it like beats you around. Now Medusa's kind of like up here, and Batman's down here.
Gotcha. That just cracked me up though, because I'm like, wait till the end of the fucking year to have your grand opening. Shouldn't that have been in April? Like,
throughput in the front gate.
Well, also maybe for the people that didn't come and didn't pay attention. Hey, it's a new ride. You know what I mean? Like, you throw that out there and people don't know any better,
Right.
Like, who'd be like, oh, wow.
I don't know. That one killed me, man. All right. So here's a thing that I thought was interesting. I actually printed this out a couple podcasts ago and we just never got a chance to go over it. So I want to hit it real fast. So this was an article that came out from InsideTheMagic.com. Popular theme park closes rides due to supply chain and safety issues, which is from July of this year. And this is kind of interesting because I'm wondering if this is contributing to so many of the So first of all, if you guys get any type of if you look up news for theme parks, there have been more injuries, and I'm probably noticing this only because I'm paying attention. But I'm shitting you not. I see an injury minimum once a week, a major injury on a theme park once a week, all year. All year I've seen it.
Is it more than it used to be, or is it just getting more press now?
This is the thing. So part of me feels like this goes back to I remember getting into a conversation with someone who was like, it's insane how many serial killers are out there now. Like Netflix puts a new program every week because there's serial killers all over. Why?
Killers.
And I pointed out, I said, there are always serial killers. I said, you're dealing with two things. We're way more populated on the earth than ever before, and you have instant news.
Yeah.
So
serial killers are so hot right now.
it's also a point. The second someone becomes a serial killer, the second they do 2 kills and there's a pattern, they're all over the fucking news, so everyone knows about them. Whereas in the 1800s, I could just go from farm to farm and town to town, and no one ever tied shit together because they didn't know. You know what I mean? But they were there.
Even the 19.
Well, and we're learning how many were in the 70s and 60s now too. And I have a feeling that kind of ties into like this whole thing where it's like, I feel like the reason there might be so many injuries is just because there's instant news, obviously, and there's so fucking many parks out there. If you're counting the lower tier places like Wildwood, there's so many theme parks throughout the United States and the world, but the United States itself, that it's insane. I mean, obviously there would be one a week if you count all the theme parks in the world, right? Because in the United States, because there's that many of them.
I mean, we're just talking specifically about injuries on rides here, right?
Correct.
Okay.
But the one thing that I didn't think about and makes sense is that because of COVID and the supply chain issues still, there are some parks that are like literally like, we're shutting rides down because we can't get the parts we need for them. They can't even get them manufactured because they're overseas and we literally can't get them. So they're done for this year. So this one park, Adventureland in Altoona, Iowa, they bluntly said, hey, we're going to let you know, we know you all love our coaster Storm Chaser, but we can't get the parts to fix it. So Storm Chaser's down for the rest of the year. And then this one surprised me. Their Sky Ride is also going to remain closed for the entire year because they're like, at this point, we feel it's unsafe and we can't get parts for that either. And I was like, holy shit, that's kind of crazy. I didn't really think about the fact that supply chains could actually just be like, part of the issue. You know what I mean? Like, right. But apparently they are.
Surprised, like our Sky Ride was from what, like the 1930 World's Fair or something, and they're still going. Like, who's making those parts?
Now, at the end of this article, they go on to say something that kind of caught my interest and made me do a little more research on this. Adventureland's the site of the incident where an 11-year-old boy drowned last year on the Raging River ride when the raft overturned. The family has since filed a lawsuit claiming no staff from the park came to help, and the ride was allowed to continue to operate with thousands of pounds of water continuing down the river despite the parents' screams for help. And the traction still remains closed at this time. Their raft ride, their Raging River raft ride, is the smaller baby version of our Roaring Rapids. It's the exact same ride. And I think it only holds 6 people per raft, but there's pictures out there of it. You can look them up. And
I can't believe that they would not help, like, if people were
so now I pulled the actual articles on that. And you could say it is.
It's an 8-person, right? Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. I can't tell if that's one. It looks like 1, 2.
Oh, you're right. It's 6.
I think it's 6. It's 6, man. So what happened is last year, this one family was on the raft and the raft fucking flipped. Wow. I have just never heard of one of those fucking flipping. And it's like, so
it's pretty tiny though, compared to a 12-person. So
but still I have to assume if it flipped. And by the way, when they go on this article, that they've had that ride there for fucking ever. Like, it's not a new ride. Like they give the history of the ride, and it's been there like literally since how old? Let's see how long. Of course, I highlighted it, and now I can't find a damn thing. The Raging River ride has been in operation for nearly 4 decades.
Oh wow!
4 decades, and they had 2 injuries 2 years in a row. They had the one where the one kid died because the boat flipped and he basically drowned. Okay. And the rest of the family all got injured as well. Okay. And that's the family that's suing them. This is even more fucked up. And I couldn't find an article with any details, but the year before, the same fucking ride. Okay. Apparently they need a light curtain. And I'm not making this as a joke, like, because if you all remember why we create the light curtain on the fucking cables, well, apparently somebody tripped while they were loading and somehow got caught between a conveyor belt, one of the employees, and their head got smacked against the cement repeatedly till the operator finally realized a person was in there, shut it down, and then the person died at the hospital from brain damage from having his head smacked against the cement repeatedly. So the ride was closed for like that whole year, and then finally passed all safety expectations and reopened, and then the boat flipped. And and then that family, the one kid died, and now they're being sued, and now they're done.
Meant to never open.
And that's it. They say at this point they do not expect the ride to ever open again. They at this point they highly doubt it will. But that also just boggled me, because that is not a ride I would ever think of people drowning in or dying in. But they do, to your point, what you were saying before about like, well, how in the hell, blah blah blah. Let me tell you what they're accusing them of, because this is crazy. The incident report states that no staff member called 911, and emergency responders were called from the theme park visitors who are watching the accident unfold. And according to the lawsuit, they only became aware of the family's raft being flipped after the 911 dispatcher was called and then called the park back. Now, what's even more fucked up is this was a family-run park, and they sold the park already. So it's a new owner that has to deal with this, even though the people being sued are the old owner. So you got that level of complication going on there as well. Okay. And they're constantly saying like, that for years they have, everything's been maintained properly, and, there's no problems with it or anything. But then the lawsuit goes on to say that Adventureland failed for years to properly maintain and repair its rides, including the Ranger River, and that there's been a ton of other incidents there as well. I couldn't find any when I did a quick search for it, but it's kind of crazy.
I mean, the employees wouldn't call 911 though.
They would
call.
Their point was the employees didn't know it happened, and they were dispatching boats. The boat was flipped. The kid's drowning. The family's stuck under the boat. More boats are going out, and nobody's stopping it because they don't. So I guess they must not have stations like we have, or they have a
maybe feel better about that one time when there was reported the guy jumped out of the boat. See,
no shit,
shut that shit down.
Yeah,
floating, and we were like looking for the body. I mean, come on.
So that one blew my mind, and then this one will fucking break Chris's heart, because I didn't know about this one either. There is a tragedy at Icon Park in Florida, and Florida legislators are now trying to pass a bill to basically the bill's kind of ridiculous. If you've done what we've done, the bill's fucking stupid. They're trying to pass a bill to say that they have to have better signage about weight capacities and height limits.
So no, but this one I remember reading.
I know, because they say they did not have a sign out front.
It wasn't even that. From what I read, if this is the same park, they overrode some of the safety features.
Yes,
the harnesses didn't have to
So here's where we're going with this one.
Crazy.
Here's where we're going. A kid died on the Orlando Free Fall, and it is a free fall ride, Chris. It's a regular free fall ride. Yeah. It's owned by Slingshot Group, and
he was like 12 or something. He was big.
It's one of those circular tower ones.
Well,
it's a big circle, right? And it's just a single tower.
Yeah. Yep. So this kid was 380 pounds, 100 pounds over the weight limit. But they said that there were no signs out there, and they let him ride anyway. And they also said that they absolutely had sensors, and they did do manual adjustments on the sensors after it passed state inspection. So they fucked up on all fucking fronts.
Yeah, everywhere. Yeah.
So I kind of feel bad for the family, though, because now they're getting this bill passed. But it's like the bill, and granted, yes, if they didn't have any signage out there, it makes sense. Although, remember, at one point, we didn't have signs on rides. We had signs in the front of the park.
But it's crap, because you know what? Even with signs, people still try to get on those damn rides, and they're like, "Oh,
no one reads signs."
Push this harness
I
down.
agree.
Oh,
I agree
on this.
I fully agree. I know.
Who cares? I'll take responsibility. My kid's not tall enough. That's fine. I'll be responsible. Yeah, okay, buddy.
This park is really getting slammed, though, because basically even the congresswoman in Florida basically said it was out of the ordinary that the young people who were operating the ride had not been properly trained. That was out of the ordinary. It was out of the ordinary that the signs with regard to height and weight requirements were not posted. so that the family can make their own decision if they should actually ride the ride. That was out of the ordinary, and went on to just say a whole bunch of shit that just made this park sound like a bunch of piece of shit, So
the fact that they overrode the sensors to
is insane.
People who shouldn't be riding.
It's pretty goddamn insane. And then I'm gonna save El Toro for last. And then we got another one that's closing down. We got the second tallest roller coaster, which is in Ohio. Okay. And that's in Cedar Point, okay? And basically, their Top Thrill Dragster coaster is shutting down, and it's shutting down permanently. However, it's also a coaster that last year, a metal object flew off of it and went 420 feet and cracked a lady in the back of the fucking head. And the ride has not been open since then anyway. So it's been closed since August 15th of 2021, and now the park officials just finally said that, they are not saying that influenced their decision to permanently close the coaster, but the coaster has been operating for 19 years, drawn 18 million riders, and after that instance, never reopened, and now, bye-bye, it's officially closing.
It's basically King the Ka, but it's like
50
feet shorter than King the Ka.
They even go on to say the mention at the very end of it that King the Ka roller coaster at Great Adventure is considered the world's tallest with 456 feet. They were right below it at 420 feet.
But it's like the same design, same everything.
Yep.
Magnetic catapult launch, same
Yep.
huge thing to go over.
And then we get to our own loving El Toro. So El Toro malfunctioned, week or two ago, and it was all over the goddamn news. And GA called it a minor accident, and according to park officials, 5 guests were taken to the hospital with minor injuries. Several others reported having back pains from the incident. It was shut down immediately before the park's normal 8 p.m. closing time, and it's under investigation. And basically, their preliminary release was that Six Flags reported that the primary and backup safety systems did their job, allowing the train to complete the ride without major incident. And they're basically, saying, everything did it fine, but, then they go on to explain that it's so weird. It's been confirmed that a section of the track where the malfunction happened is a pothole that will be fixed. And it'll be inspected and signed off before it's going to reopen. We don't know how long it's going to be before it's going to be reopened. It's just a pothole, which is a term that we use to say that there's a slight separation between the track and the wooden structure toward the end of the ride before the last turn. And eventually it'll be fixed and reopened. However, now nobody thinks that that's coming back. It's not opening this season for sure. And there's a lot of people thinking that that's going to be the end of it, because apparently El Toro is one of those rides that used to be like smooth as shit when it opened. And from what I'm reading now, everyone that goes on it is saying like it's been beating the living shit out of you for the last couple of years.
I mean, I don't know. I wrote it a few weeks ago.
You thought it was fine?
Well, it was smoother a few weeks ago than it was like a few years back when I wrote it.
Right.
Before they redid it and they had it closed for that extended period of time.
Yep.
So, I mean, it felt fine to me. I don't know what happened with that. But.
Well, and then they have this is what's screwing with them. They have an unnamed ride operator who they are protecting his name. But CBS News is saying that according to that person, maintenance has known about this forever. They've tried fixing it, but for how it is, it just keeps like happening. It's just not going to get fixed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and a ride operator actually apparently is the one that said that. So, yeah. So, El Toro is like, I
think it's out.
I figured you guys would get a kick out of this one. So we talked about people being, the ride restrictions and all that, and, people, being angry about it, right? Well, there's an article that came out August 17th in Theme Park News that is titled "Young Girl with Prosthetic Leg Humiliated After Being Removed from Attraction." So, Amelia Eldred, 11, had waited in line for 2 hours, eager to ride Galactica at Alton Towers, but was sadly removed from the attraction by theme park staff shortly after being seated. The mother felt that she was completely humiliated, and like that's it. Like they don't want to ride any rides anymore. The daughter is like completely like just traumatized by it. And the park released an official statement saying, guests who have a prosthetic limb will need to remove the prosthetic due to the nature of the ride. If you have a prosthetic, please speak to a member of the guest service team or visit the website here for all the the relevant restrictions that apply to the ride. So they're basically saying, like, the way this ride works, you get strapped in a certain way, and you can't have a thing like that because it's dangerous. And they're basically like, well, there wasn't anything posted, so you know what? And they're claiming there is something posted. So you got a little bit of a back and forth going on this one.
Right.
But what cracked me up is that 5 days before that, child's prosthetic leg flies off during carnival ride, nearly hitting guests in head. And it is a flying wave. It is literally just a fucking flying wave.
Wow.
And it's a carnival version, though, but it looks exactly like our old version at Six Flags, not the current one that's like the mega one.
It probably is our
probably is, no doubt. And they show pictures of it. And this one, because it's one of the smaller carny ones, though, they almost go vertical when it starts going around, so they're fast. And sure enough, man, this chick's leg flew off and missed a lady, hitting her head by like inches. And what's really funny is, unlike the other one, this girl, thank God, they found the leg, and she was like on video being like, "Look, it's fine. It didn't hurt my leg." So it's so funny that you have one where people are bitching about it. You have another where it actually happened. It almost took someone's head off,
Yeah, man. No, I mean, I said, like, I had to recover a leg. I think definitely once, maybe twice. I think I can't remember if one was an arm and one was a leg, but definitely a leg right after the first drop on Batman. That's where it would come off.
I'll go grosser. Never recovered it. And there's no fucking way anyone was recovering this. Although I didn't want to say that because I found people's wedding rings in the log flume.
I already know. I had one too. Glass eye. Yeah, I never found the eye. Yeah.
Lift too. And they were like, "Can you find it?" And I'm like, "It's almost clear, right?" And the guy was like,
I don't think I ever found one. There was more than one. There wasn't a lot, but there was at least two, maybe three. And I don't think I ever found a glass eye, but the legs were a lot easier to find, of course, a lot easier to find. And it was fine. it was fine. Yeah, it was okay.
Let's talk about a couple of more funny things, because we're getting close to the end. Jesus, how the hell are we already at an hour and a half? Fly. Oh my God. Well, we were going to talk about like most anticipated rides, but we'll hold that to the next one. But let's talk about some more fun stuff, because I feel like we haven't talked about a lot of fun stuff. We've been talking about like heavier stuff than what we normally talk about.
Yeah.
We talked about there was a guy that cleaned his kid's diaper right in the fountain of the Koala Canyon at that park on the last podcast. This one gets even better. This one gets even better. Dozens of people were sickened after playing on a splash pad. Now, you know how some of the parks, and remember, Great Adventure just have these, where they just have those big pads and they have just a fountain coming up, and you can just walk on them in the middle of the hot summer and it just drops water on you?
Yeah.
Well, apparently one of the splash pads in a wildlife theme park in Kansas took out 27 people and caused 2 separate outbreaks of fecal-borne pathogens because there is poop in all of the padding. So every time you walked into the blow-up of the water, you were literally being rained on by minutia.
Oh my God.
It says, dozen sick, 3 hospitalized over feces exposure at water park. And what's even funnier is they show a picture of like a pretty girl in a bikini running in the fucking water. I can't stop laughing thinking about it. I'm like, this is horrible.
God.
Oh my God. They got Shigella bacteria, which it causes an infection, which causes bloody diarrhea, fever, stomach pain, and the physical urge for a bowel movement, even when you have nothing in your bowel. I'm like, oh my God, that sounds like a fucking nightmare.
Sounds like what I got in Punta Cana.
Yeah, that's what you were describing. Absolutely. This one also cracked me up. So on Hagrid's magical motorbike ride in Universal Florida.
That's an awesome ride.
It is an awesome ride. And they describe it and they make it sound so cool. And then the story begins with a guest coming to the realization that something wet is on him and he doesn't know why. And he's in the middle of the ride. And then he hears a guy to his right and realizes the guy hasn't been enjoying himself. He's been making hurling sounds the whole ride that he thought were enjoyable sounds. And then realized when he got off the ride, my entire left side is completely covered with puke. and it's just shooting the divider between the seats. The woman on his left had been wearing a white pantsuit, and he goes, "I actually feel worse for her than me because it wasn't white anymore." What's even funnier is I didn't know they do this. So they call it the punishment chair, which is a joking name for the vehicle seat that's in the queue line, where you can go in and you can basically just be sure you're at the right height to ride the ride and everything. What they did is they have a cleanup room with another version of that, and they just take you in there and kind of like hose you off a little bit if you need it. And then to their credit, they did let them go. They did like have them go to guest relations, and guest relations then walked them to other areas like stores and basically gave them free clothing. Like basically just gave them free clothing. And they and they said that, what they gave them like hung off them like a dress, but it was better than like puke clothing that he had to walk around in, But I'm like, oh my God, can you imagine that? Like, you're just like, holy shit, you turn and there's just puke everywhere on you, man. That's crazy. Here's another one. I love this. And you guys can look this up. You'll see it. You can look it up anywhere you want. You'll find it because the shit went viral. But there is this Ohio single dad, okay, who's in his 40s, okay, and he has a daughter who's now dating age and has a boyfriend, and he loves going to Kings Island in Ohio, but he's single now and he doesn't want to be a third wheel. So he put out a TikTok video where he basically said, like, I'm not trying to like hit on you or anything. And it's really kind of adorable, but he's just like, I'm just looking for a lady that wants to go on a date with me, my daughter, and her date, and just go to the amusement park. And he goes, I'm going to pay your admission. And we got Fast Pass. That shit went viral and had 126,000 views. And the comments on it are so worth reading, because there's like, he's like, I am straight. I just want you to know I'm straight. And he's like, I'm not, this is not like, you have to be at least 34 years old. I'm not looking to date minors or anything. He's like, but he's like, I'm seriously just looking for a company, and he ended up, he found somebody, and they're actually, it's hysterical because their date is today. So you can find this on there. If you just look like single dad amusement park viral, you'll find it. The video will pop up and you can watch it. But what he did, which was really cool, is that there was one lady who apparently had a really good response video. There were a lot of people that posted response TikTok videos to him. And there was one that was a 34-year-old widow with 2 kids. And she was like, I would love to go with you and everything. He didn't pick her. And he doesn't say her name. He says, I didn't pick her. I'm not going to say her name, but you can find a lot of people here. He goes, however, I also was very, very it was a heartfelt video. And so I am buying them. I just want everyone to know I'm buying them free passes to the park so they can go to the park one day this year as well. He goes, and it made me think that, I'm actually doing okay as a single dad. He goes, so I'm going to offer where every year going forward, I'm going to sponsor a family. And I'm going to basically take any family up to 4. I'm going to sponsor one family a year for as long as I can financially afford to go to the park, go to King's Dominion, and basically just pay their entrance fee to go in and everything. He goes, don't post anything else because I got my date. So I can't look at it anymore. I can't look at it anymore. But I thought that was fucking cute as shit, man. I thought it was really cute. Nice. I just, went on there. It was like, anyone want to go to a park with me?
I got passes.
And here's another one you guys will love. Florida couple gets busy on the Ferris wheel. Shit you not. And I love it because the opening line in the article is, if the Ferris wheels are rocking, don't come knocking. Police in Cedar Point, Ohio say a couple stands accused of banging on a Ferris wheel at an amusement park over the weekend. And basically what it comes down to is, yeah, they did. And they got caught by a family that had to watch them for the good portion because they happened to be in the car next to them. But what cracked me up the most is that the girl tried to deny it initially. And she was like, oh, no, he dropped his cigarettes and I was just down there trying to pick them all up. That's a lot of cigarettes to pick up. I guess you were down there for a while, huh?
This is a carton.
And then, yeah, I know, right? Well, Skyride, though, people would never actually see you technically. You could hide on a Skyride. Ferris wheel, once those cars get to the right angle, you're not hiding anything.
There's no hiding it.
Yeah, you're not hiding shit.
See all the cigarettes.
This will be our last headline because this one just cracked me up the most. I don't even know if I need to read the article. I think the headline says it enough. Now, by the way, I like SeaWorld. I know SeaWorld constantly gets shit on, but I like SeaWorld. So this isn't against SeaWorld. It's just it cracked me up. Serious criminal charges. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm reading the wrong one. SeaWorld accused of creating Jurassic World hybrid orcas. And it actually does. So it is a former trainer at SeaWorld, okay, who was there for 20 years that basically says they had a breeding program where they were taking subspecies of orcas that would never meet in the wild, and they were actually having them mate, trying to make a massively sized, like park-kept orca that they could train.
Are they ill-tempered?
Ah!
Can we equip them with lasers?
I just thought that was the best headline in the world. I'm like, Jesus Christ, that shit's so fucking great, man. Oh my God. Well, I'm gonna close it out by saying Fright Fest starts next week. Some chump named Scott, 49th birthday in 3 days.
Oh,
I wish Scotty a happy birthday.
Thank you.
nice. Happy birthday.
Thanks.
We love Dina Desire, but that Ohio Down sounds like a good guy. I don't want to date him, but he sounds like a good guy. You dated me once, Dina. You would date that guy, okay?
Free passes. I date him. Come on, free passes.
All right, that's it, guys. Our time is already here. How the hell did we hit an hour and a half? It's crazy. Once again, we like to thank everybody in the chat. We like to thank everybody that listens to us continuously. We love the feedback that we get on the podcast. Thank you to Ming. Thank you to Shared Universe Podcast for making this possible. And with that, I will sign off. I am Steve Hicks.
Scott Loudon.
Chris Peluso.
Andy Auletti.
Make it a great day, everybody. Bye, guys.